What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Baltimore Ravens Rundown. My name is Joey Peterson. I am the host of today's video, and I'm excited about this one. Always love getting to do these mailbag segments. These questions come right after the Thursday Night Football victory over the Miami Dolphins. Your questions, my answers. Let's get into the content. Coming up first from Moggs, a name that you guys should have recognized by now because he's always hanging out with us, always asking great questions. It's time to buy. Do we go for guard as a first priority with Green stepping up? Still target defensive lineman, though. I don't think guard as first priority still, because I still think first priority is edge rusher or defensive tackle. But I just feel like you've got somebody in Emory Jones that's kind of waiting in the wings that I think is going to be able to give your team some juice. In a perfect world, the Ravens make 2 trades. And at the current recording of this video, they haven't made any. But perfect world, they trade for a defensive lineman. They trade for an offensive guard like a Kevin Zeitler. But I don't think guard is first priority. I think it's like number 2. It's probably 1B. 1A, I would say still, is defensive line. Because with your weapons, you're still going to be able to move the football. Okay, but if you face a really good offensive line with your lack of depth and lack of talent at the defensive end and the interior defensive lineman spots, you could run into some big trouble. Okay, so great question, Moggs. We appreciate the question, but I would answer that as guard 1B and defensive line 1A. Frosty DMR coming up next with the defense looking good again after the bye week. Do you expect Malachi to improve majorly? I if you missed my instant reaction on Thursday night, that was one of my takeaways. I really, really liked the game that I saw from Malachi Starks. I thought he played phenomenal. And I do think, in a sense of it, that Kyle Hamilton moving out of the true safety role, I think that's going to help. And I think it has helped Malachi Starks a little bit. Because I think it helps the rest of the defense make plays just in general because Kyle Hamilton is such a damn good football player. But I also believe it helps Malachi be a little bit more free. Probably play a little bit more free-flowing. And I think you saw that against Miami. 5 tackles. Obviously, he got his first career interception. That was great. That was exciting. I was absolutely pumped to see that. But it just feels like he's kind of getting the swing of things. And we knew it would probably happen at some point. It's hard to judge rookies because after the first 5 weeks of the season, first 7 weeks of the season, we all want to declare them either busts or not. And the majority of the time, they're just young. They're learning, getting used to it, figuring things out. And I think that's kind of where he is, and I think he's on the back end of figuring things out. I think we'll see a lot of good football from him very, very soon. Let's do a different question next because Frosty just asked one great. Elgato. Do you think that trade for Alohi Gilman is the biggest trade we make? No, I don't think so. Gage, do we have socials in here? Have we moved over socials? Because I know we have a couple of socials that we did on shows this past week that would be good to look at. So we've heard John Harbaugh even speak as early as this past week or as late as this past week about, trading for edge rushers, about wanting to add other players via trade. He's talked about it a good bit, right? He talked about in the beginning of October, adding defensive players on the defensive line. And so because of that, I don't think so. We've talked about this a long time, and although this defense is playing better, you still see holes in this roster. You see a lack of depth. You see a lack of star power on the defensive line. And I think they want to change that. And so the Alohi Gilman trade, I think, was really, really good because it allowed Kyle Hamilton to be a little bit more freed up. And I think you've seen a lot of positivity from that when it comes to Kyle Hamilton and what he's been able to do. But I don't think that's the only trade that's made. I do think they go for someone bigger. I don't think it's like a blockbuster deal where it's just like unbelievable. It's just like this name that's like, we're like, okay, we have to go live as quickly as possible. But I do think that it is a move, and Gage, you can just forget it. I do think that it is a move that I do think they will make another move to answer that question. I hope so, at least. But we'll see. Ravens King coming up next. Should we trade for Jaelan, Phillips, Kayvon Thibodeaux at the deadline? Yes. Yes. Either one of those guys. I think I would prefer Jaelan Phillips to Kayvon Thibodeaux. We saw him get a sack on Thursday night against the Dolphins. But I wouldn't mind Kayvon either. I think at this point, your sole focus is how can we get this team as good as it can be to gear up to make a run for the playoffs. And you need help on the edge like we've talked about already today. Okay? So the answer is yes. If I had to pick one of those two, it'd be Jaelan Phillips. Speaking of the playoffs, what do you think the percent chance is the Ravens make it? 1 to 100. Scale it for me down below in that comment section right now. Weigh in with your answer. If you're looking for how to have even more fun while watching football, the answer to that is using our friends, our favorite sponsor, the reason you're watching this video, our great friends at PrizePicks. The hard-hitting football action is even better with PrizePicks. The weather might be changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old. So keep the season rolling on PrizePicks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. Follow other PrizePicks players directly on the app and copy their lineups in one click. Whether it's a friend, a celebrity partner, or just someone whose picks you like, hit the follow button and check out every lineup they create. And the new feed tab on PrizePicks. On PrizePicks, how you play is up to you. If you want flexibility, choose FlexPlay, where you can get paid even if one of your picks misses. And if you want the biggest payouts, go for the power play. No matter how you play, PrizePicks is a great way to put your takes to the test. They're talking about getting paid even if one of your picks misses with the flex play. This is a perfect example of it. Because one of my picks did miss. The Derrick Henry more than 3.5 yards on his first rush. Unfortunately, he got less than that. But Zay Flowers did get more than 24.5 yards longest reception. So did Devon Achane at 14.5 yards longest reception. So if you flex played it, you could still win money. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. The link to this promo is in the comments section and description of today's video. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. Are you confident in this defense now? Also, random question, but who is your favorite NFL commentator? I am confident in this defense now. I've said this a lot, but after the first time this defense played well against the Rams, wasn't trusting them. I wasn't going to allow myself to get hurt again. The second game, they showed a lot against Chicago, but I still was a little bit wary. I said I need to see it a third time. Well, guess what? They showed it to us a third time against Miami. I am in full trust now of the defense. So, yes. Who's my favorite NFL commentator? I like Buck and Troy. I think they are the best duo in the NFL. I also like Mike Tirico a lot. Okay? Not a huge Collinsworth guy. I like Kirk in college football. Don't really like him in the NFL. Tony's getting a little bit old. Jim Nance is a classic. But I think Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, I think, are the best duo. Stephen Kelly, do you think we should have beat Miami better than we did? Maybe by a touchdown more, but I'm never going to be pounding my fist on the table if they beat them by 3 touchdowns. You'll never hear me do that. You'll never see me do that. I will take a 3-touchdown win over everybody. I don't care that Miami's not that great of a team, frankly, because guess what? You really haven't been that great of a team either. And you beat them by 3 touchdowns on their home turf. Sounds good to me. I'll take that any day of the week. Jay Ralome's coming up next. Had a little scare when Ham went down. If he goes down, what's the plan schematically? Great question. The plan is Alohi Gilman and Malachi Starks at the 2 safety spots. Then it's Awuzie and Wiggins on the corners, and then Marlon Humphrey as that nickel corner. That's the plan. Unfortunately, that would suck because Kyle Hamilton is a hell of a player. He is your best defensive player. And I don't even think that's necessarily close. So, yes, I was scared as well. Obviously, he finished the game. All is good. Up next, our final question of today's show. I'm excited to see who this is. It's from Frosty again. Oh, wait, we already asked that one. Let's go. There we go. From Frosty again. Should we trade away anyone on offense? Not a bad at all last question, Frosty. Good one. We should not trade for anyone on offense unless it's for an offensive guard. I would like Kevin Zeitler if I got my pick. Kevin Zeitler, excuse me. I would trade away if you can get something good for Mark Andrews. I know this is a hot take, just a couple of days away from him catching 2 touchdowns. But if you could trade away Mark Andrews for something good, I would think about it. And I said this on the broadcast, and I get it. He just scored a touchdown as well. But if you could think about if you get something good for trading away Rashad Bateman, I'd be interested in that as well. I don't really like his attitude. He quits on routes. He complains. He has not really made plays. So if you can get something for Rashad Bateman for one of these wide receiver needy teams, I'd listen to it. That's going to do it for today's show. Appreciate you guys for hanging out with us. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure you got me followed on social media. We appreciate you being here. That's going to do it for today's show. For Producer Gage, my name is Joey Peterson. Y'all have a wonderful night, and we will see you next time.